Welcome to our economics class, where we're going to look at the principles in microeconomics. So question number one, which of the following factors is likely to less likely cause a shift in demand curve for a good? So before we even answer this, we must understand that in demand, the principle holding everything else constant is that as the price of a good goes up, the quantity demanded will decline. And the determinants of demand that we have that are non-price factors that will cause a shift in demand. We have what? The income. What else do we have that will cause a shift? We have related goods like complements. We have consumer preferences and tastes. Okay. Changes in advertising, expectations, and population size. So, of these determinants of demand, only what? Price does not cause a shift. That one causes a movement along the demand curve. So the shift can either be to the right or to the left if there's an increase or decrease. Okay, I repeat, we use the term ceteris paribus in a Latin term which means all things equal. So the determinants of demand include what? We have price of that good, which is a factor. We have consumer income or disposable income. We have preferences. We have tastes and preferences. We have expectation. We have natural population. So ideally, price is one that will cause what? A movement along, meaning from point A to point B. If the price goes up, the quantity demanded will go down. This is just the law of demand and supply. All right. So this is an inverse relationship. So other factors will not do this. They will simply cause a shift either to the right or to the left. So this shift can be an increase in income or decrease in income. So when you're shifting to the right, the demand will move from D0, D0 means original, to D1, the new position. If income reduces, it will shift vice versa from D1 to this direction. So these are determinants of demand. So here, the price changes movement along will come up because of the changes in price, whereas the shifts will come up with the changes in these other factors. So we go back to our question again, so to now apply what we're talking about. Which of the following factors will least cause a shift in the curve? Okay, so the answer is a change in supply of the good. So supply only affects the equilibrium price. The change in income, correct, to cause a shift. The change in price of the substitute or related good will cause a shift. A shift change in the preference will cause a shift, but supply, that one will not cause. That is our answer. Question number two, which one of the following is not a determinant of supply? Which one of the following is not a determinant of supply? So we must understand that the law of supply states that the higher the price, what is the law of supply? The higher the price. Mm-hmm. What is the law of supply?
The higher the demand,
Okay. The higher the price. What is the law? The higher the quantity supplied. It is a direct relationship. Okay. So the principles of supply is that it has a direct relationship. So now, what can we say about supply? Suppliers need incentives. Ceteris paribus, holding all things constant. The price of the good will go up people will be encouraged to supply more bags of fertilizer to FRA. So that's why the formula of the supply is given by what? P, and the slope is a positive. P is equal to what? A plus BQ. All right. So the factors that uh, affect supply, we have many factors. We have number one, the prices of the inputs. So prices of the inputs. Number two, the technology. Number three, the number of suppliers. The more suppliers we have, the more supply we have. Number four, price expectations and policies, like even weather. So if government provides a subsidy for solar panels, there'll be an increase in what? Production of more. So now we go to our question in this regard. So now, what is our question asking for? Our question is asking for which one of the following is not a determinant of supply? Is it price of input, technology, expectation, and consumer taste? So, which one of the following is not a determinant of supply? It's consumer taste. Okay, consumer only affects demand, not supply. Are we together? Input prices, expectations, and taste, all these will affect. All right. Question number 3. When a price seal is set before equilibrium, what happens? When a price seal is set below equilibrium, what happens? So what did we talk about price ceiling? We said government will intervene in the market. Okay, these are called government interventions. It will intervene in the market to influence the pricing of goods and to avoid exploitation of the bad uh, black market. Okay, so now there's what we call price ceiling. There's what we call uh, uh, six. We're together. There's what we call price ceiling and there's what we call floor price. Who remembers these principles? What is price ceiling and what is a floor price? What is a price seal and what is a floor price? Susan, I'd explain these principles. So a floor price is simply an intervention that government makes. It's a legal maximum price that is set below equilibrium. So a floor price is a legal maximum price that the government sets below the what? Equilibrium price. So we know that equilibrium is where demand and supply meet. Here we have the equilibrium. Below the equilibrium, government will set a what? A floor price. So this is floor price. And this is a price seal. And this is a floor price. So the maximum that is set um, below the equilibrium is a price seal where government would want to make essential goods affordable, like rent control. So this will lead to inefficiencies in the market that will lead to excess demand. So there'll be more demand, okay, than the supply is. The supply is on top, okay, so there'll be more demand and less supply. So this will cause a shortage. So the price at which quantity equals demanded is called equilibrium. So government intervention will mentioned here is that they'll use what we call price ceiling to distort the market. So rent control is one of the strategies that government uses to avoid what? Exploitation. So they'll have fewer apartments as landlords for renting, make them less profitable. So this price sale, it will make what? Uh, demand less than supply. So this will be a shortage. Then here, when we have a floor price, we're going to have more supply than the demand. This will be a surplus. So let's go to our question now. Our question reads, when a price is set below the equilibrium price, it is called a what? When price ceiling is below the equilibrium, the result will lead to a shortage. So at lower prices, when demanded will exceed the supply. So they make things cheaper, people demand more, and suppliers will be reluctant. Which of the following does not cause a shift in the demand curve? I said price itself does not cause a shift, so price has a movement along. All right? Any questions so far? Are we together? Are we understanding? Mr. Gift, are we together? Question number 5. If the price of a complementary good increases, the demand of the related...
Mr. Collins, yes. I'm just multitasking. That's why I'm quiet. Thanks.
All right. Okay. So if the price of a complementary good increases, the demand for the related good will. So we must understand the issues of what? Complements. So complementary goods are goods that go together. So when one good becomes expensive, what will happen? It will reduce the price of the other. For instance, cars and fuel, they complement each other. So if fuel prices will go up, fewer people will buy cars. So due to the higher total cost. So the principle here is that demand for complementary good is negatively related, okay? Is negatively related. So to the price. So if one goes up, okay, what will happen? The other will go down. That's the meaning of negatively related. So if complementary good increases, the demand for the related good will do what? Will decrease. Answer is B. Okay. Question number 6. A decrease in the price of an input will cause a decrease of price in some good will cause what? So here we must understand that lower input costs usually reduce what? Production costs. The low input costs will reduce production costs. In return, it will encourage producers to supply more. So the cost of production, if it goes down, what happens? You shift to the right. When the costs become high, you shift to the left. When technology improves, you shift to the right. When technology decreases, you shift to the left. So these are the principles you need to understand. So in this case here, a decrease in the price of an input will cause what? A decrease in the price of an input, meaning the cost will go down. Are we together? Any questions so far? All right, so we go to question number 7. If a good is normal, an increase in consumer income will do what? If a good is normal, so normal goods and income. So you must understand that normal goods have a positive relationship. Okay? So the higher the income, the higher the purchasing power. So the principle here is that we have the following income effect. So, well, the normal goods, the demand will increase as your income goes up. For inferior goods, your demand will decrease as income goes up. That's the principle. So the more income you get, what you're going to buy will be normal goods. If your income increases, then you stop buying those goods. They are called inferior goods. So as income increases, buyers will buy more of branded clothes instead of cheap alternatives. That is the principle there. So in our answer here, if a good is normal, increase in income will result in what? Who wants to try? It will result in increase in demand. So this is what happens for normal goods. All right. Which of the following is not a characteristic of market equilibrium? Which one of the following is not a characteristic of market equilibrium? So typically, demand is typically downsloping due to the law of demand. So quantity demanded at equilibrium should be equal to the quantity supplied. So here there's no unexploited gains from the trade. Okay, so market clearing prices will ensure that there's no excess demand or supply. Okay, so we should understand that at the price of 50, at 100 kwacha or 50 kwacha, the quantity demanded and supplied, that is the price of equilibrium. So in this case here, which one of the following is not a characteristic of equilibrium? Our answer is D. Which one is not a characteristic of equilibrium? Our answer is D, that demand is upsloping. So we know that quantity demanded is equal to quantity supplied. That is correct. We know that there are no shortages or surpluses. That is correct. And the market clears at equilibrium. But equilibrium, inevitably, the supplier and the consumer will meet and agree at some point. Okay? So that is what we call equilibrium. Any questions? Any questions?
We are following. You can make progress.
All right, so we now go to question number 9. When market price is above the equilibrium price, the result is what? When market is above equilibrium price, what you must understand is surplus is when we have excess supply. So excess supply happens when the price is above what? The equilibrium. So we have a downward pressure on price. A shortage is where we have more demand and this appears below the equilibrium. So upward pressure is on price. So for instance, if apples are priced at 200 kwacha when the equilibrium is 150, okay? So the unsold stock accumulates. People will not buy. So our answer in this case is when the market is above equilibrium, the result is that what? We have a surplus. So surplus is the answer. So at high prices, what happens? producers will supply more. All right. Producers will supply more. All right. Is that clear? Is that clear? Okay. Then we go to our next question. Which of the following will not affect elasticity of demand? Which one of the following will not affect except elasticity of demand? So the principle here is that when you're dealing with elasticity of demand, what happens? What are the determinants of elasticity of demand? Can somebody remind me? What are the determinants of elasticity of demand? Mention any four. Availability of substitutes. So the more substitutes, the more elastic. Uh, what else? Okay, determinants of demand will include whether there's an availability of substitutes. So the more substitutes we have, the more elastics. That simply means that if you are in a market and you are buying tomatoes and others are buying, they are all selling tomatoes, so there are a lot of substitutes available. For instance, if you're buying what tumbua and there are scones, and if you're expensive, people will switch. That will make goods more sensitive, more elastic. Secondly, the type of a good. All right, these are determinants of what? Um, Elasticity. They are very important to know. I said number one, determinants of elasticity include how substitutes, how many substitutes you have. Okay, the more substitutes, the more elastic. Number two, whether it is a necessity or a luxury. So necessities are usually less elastic, where luxuries are more elastic. And proportion of income. If you have larger expense, you become elastic sensitive to spend. And time period, if it's short, you are inelastic. If it's long, you are elastic. So salt is inelastic because there are few substitutes. Okay, and it's lower at cost. Airplane tickets are elastic because you have many options. If too expensive, you just use a bus all together. So in this case, you will need to choose the best available option. I hope it's clear. Okay, can we proceed? Okay. So we can proceed. The second question we look at is the next question we look at is, so here the answer to the following will not affect elasticity, availability of substitute, this one will, proportion of income spend, it will, time period, it will, price of inputs, this one's won't. So D. 11, a decrease in demand and an increase in supply will result in A, high equilibrium price and quantity, B, lower equilibrium price and quantity, C, lower equilibrium price and indeterminate quantity, and C, an increase in both equilibrium price and quantity. So the answer is C. Answer is C. So why is the answer C? So you must understand the principles underpinning uh, those things. So are we together? So this is where So question 11 and 12 up to 20. I will run through quickly, then we'll do the calculations in the afternoon, in the evening. Okay, are we following together? I hope. So I repeat question number 11. Question number 11 reads, a decrease in demand and an increase in supply will result in C, lower equilibrium price, and indeterminate change in quantity. So what we must understand is that a decrease in demand will cause a shift to the left. So this will lower both what? The equilibrium price and quantity. And an increase in supply will shift to the right. This will lower what? Equilibrium price, but increase equilibrium quantity. So the net effect is that the price will definitely fall, but the effect on quantity depends on the magnitude of the shifts. So hence the term indeterminate quantity change. So if both a new technology will reduce production costs and the consumer interest in the product will fall, causing a decrease in demand, the market will drop, but quantity traded may rise or they may stay stable. So there are multiple simultaneous shifts that may arise, but the best answer here is what I've just mentioned. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. Mm. All right, so we got to question number 12. A good is considered inferior when, number one, the demand of the good increases. Number two, the demand of the good decreases as income increases. Number three, the supply of a good decreases as price increases. Then elasticity of a good is zero. So the answer is B. All right, so what we need to understand firstly is the issue of what inferior goods. What are inferior goods? Inferior goods are items we buy less of as income increases, like instant noodles, public transport, okay, higher income household goods. So in the other hand, as income increases, household may shift from instant noodles to fresh produce or restaurant meals. So that principle is called the income effect. So our answer here is that a good is considered to be inferior when what? Demand falls as income increases. So that is an inferior good. And that's why our answer here is B. Question number 13. If experiences of income and income increase, the effect of the demand on the normal good will be. Okay, so here we're dealing with what is called the income effect on normal goods. So what you should know is that the higher income will allow us to buy more goods at every time. So shifting the demand to the right. So this is a non-price determinant. So when salaries increase, people buy more of branded clothes, smartphones, organic food. So the principle here is that income will cause a shift. Okay, unlike prices, that causes a movement along. So the question is, if income increases, the effect on the normal good will be that it will shift to the right. Is that clear? So the answer is C. I hope it's making sense. All right, question number 14. Principle on question number 14 is on price elasticity of demand. So you know the price elasticity of demand is what? Price elasticity of demand is as follows. Percentage change in quantity demanded over percentage change in what? In price. So if the price of coffee raises by 10% and the demand drops by 20%, what do we call that? Price elasticity.
You may ask again.
So I was saying that in elasticity of demand, okay, the formula is given. What is the formula for elasticity of demand? What is the formula for elasticity of demand? Mm-hmm. So elasticity of demand is simply the percentage change